That's a short-term price target of 2 to 4 weeks. Now, having said that, all right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. We are here to talk about all things investing. And today what I'd like to do is go through Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin's having a bit of a tough start on the day today, so I want to take a look at what's happening and see which way it looks like we're going. So just a little bit about myself. I have a background in accounting. I was a CPA. I've been working with numbers for over 30 years. And I've been a retail trader for a couple of decades now. So my goal for this channel is to just share my experiences and hopefully we can all make some money together along the way. We cover Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners quite a bit, so if that is content that you enjoy, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Recently I got sick and couldn't make a video for several weeks, which has moved us out of the YouTube algorithm. So anybody who feels they got something out of this video, if you could do us a favor and smash the like button as well as leave a comment. Those two things go a long way to help, and we really would appreciate if you would do that. With that said, let's get to it and take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, so I'm going to start on the 4-hour chart right here. This is the last 2 weeks of activity for Bitcoin. And I'm starting back here because this was kind of a significant point. We put in a bottom on December 13th at somewhere around the 45,700 mark. So if I zoom out just a little bit, you'll see that after the flash crash on December 3rd, we tested $52,000 on December 7th. So that became a point of resistance. We went all the way down to the bottom here, spent some time at the bottom. Just yesterday, we finally got back and retested this line of resistance. And obviously, we failed. So what does this mean and what can we expect from here? I want to go through both sides of the story so we can set an expectation to the downside and to the upside, because I think it's always important to look in both directions because, as you guys know, Bitcoin is a very volatile asset and, you know, in a short period of time, anything can happen. So having said that, let's take a look at where I think we're at. So still on the 4-hour chart, I've zoomed into the last 2 weeks. And you'll see I have 3 boxes here that I've outlined. Because Bitcoin has actually been incredibly consistent for us. It has traded in a very tight range for the last several weeks, and it's just been taking stair steps up. So these were actually a couple of really good weeks inside of what has been, you know, a couple of really bad months in November and December. I think everybody was starting to feel good. Certainly yesterday at around noon, when we hit 52,000, I know that I was hopeful, and obviously we were looking for that breakthrough, and it didn't happen. So we bounced to the downside. I did not expect to bounce this far down. We went straight from the top of our range to the bottom of our range in about 10 hours, and then we broke through the bottom of our short-term range. So we'll take a closer look at that. So you'll see on December 20th, we had a nice run up from December 20th to December 23rd. And again, these are short windows, but we traded in an extremely tight range. We then jumped up. We had a giant green candle on very large volume on December 23rd, which was the final day of trading last week in the US before a long 3-day weekend. Over the 3-day weekend, we stayed completely within our lines of support and resistance. So again, that would be from 49,000 to 52,000. December 24th, we got pretty close to our line of resistance, but didn't quite get there. And then yesterday, we actually got there and we candle wicked through that, but it did not hold. And you'll see it's all red candles since then. However, having said that, I am not panicking, and I probably should have said that earlier in the video. Okay, so staying on the 4-hour chart, what I want to look at is this candle that we are in right now. So I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit because let's focus on what's happening right now. Last night at 11 o'clock, this 4-hour candle, you can see crossed our line of support and closed below it. This is the 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. candle Eastern Standard Time. I'm really zoomed in here and I've drawn a yellow circle. What I wanted to point out is you will see that this current 4-hour candle wick that we're in exactly hit our line of support at $43,333. If I look at the exact numbers, it actually got to about within $10 of that. So that was virtually a perfect retest of our recent line of support at $43,333. The second thing I'll show you is on the 4-hour candle, this candle is still red, so we're not back to where we were 4 hours ago. If I go to the 2-hour candle, you'll see that this same candle has now turned green, which basically means we had a little bit of a flash down, about a 1.5%. We hit a line of support. That line of support held, and we've bounced all the way back to where we were prior to that mini flash crash, and we're now in the green on our current candle. So again, that is also very encouraging. It would be nice to see this 2-hour candle close green and continue to go up from there. So our first target on the upside obviously would be to get back into this recent trading range that we've been in. So we're looking to get above about 49,500 and have a 4-hour candle close above that and start our trend, maybe take another run back to 52,000 and see if this time we can break through this resistance and start heading back up to our all-time high. Now, I don't know that we will break through this resistance on the next try. Sometimes it takes several tries, but I do think, again, this represents a local bottom, a short-term bottom, and I do think we're likely to head back up in this direction over the next week or two. Again, remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just giving you my opinion of this chart and what I'm seeing and where I think it's going. So that's the upside. Let's talk about the downside. We did just retest this line at 48,333. If we were to turn around and retest this line again and it fails, we do have 2 lines of support below that I think will be in play at that point. We have a line at about 47, just under 47,000, but more importantly, we have a massive line of support at about 46,700. For me, on my chart, is a crucial line. So if we do have a larger retest and if we do have some more downside coming, it would be extremely important that we hold this line at 45,700. Again, I remain bullish in the long term on Bitcoin, so everybody that watches the channel knows that. If you're new to this channel, I still believe we are in the middle of a longer term Bitcoin bull run. Obviously, there are pullbacks that happen during that time. The last day clearly has been one of them. Zooming out, taking a longer term picture, I do believe we're still in a bull run, but that doesn't mean that we can't go retest some recent lows. Particularly, this is a very big line of support. So it is possible if momentum does shift, and I'm not seeing that in any of the indicators, but if momentum does shift, I would call this line, our line in the sand. We need to stay above this line for sure. I don't believe we're going to get anywhere near this line, but I just like to talk about the downside so that, we understand, given the volatility of Bitcoin, everything is always on the table. I'm hoping this 2-hour candle finishes green and we head to the upside. Having said that, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let's take a look at a couple of the miners in specific. The first miner we're going to look at is HUT8, stock ticker HUT, H-U-T. Right now, I'm zoomed out on the daily chart. So each one of these candles represents one day. Because what I want to show is on September 29th, which those of you who watch the channel know, that was basically the end of the bear run in September. We had that extended bear market through November and most of December until December 20th. So that is another date that I will talk about a lot on this channel. That is the day that I believe we bottomed out, and I believe that bottom will hold. We tested this bottom right here again at the bottom of this current bear cycle, and we've headed up from there. Now we've had a big gap down today, so I'm going to zoom in. So yesterday, HUT actually got above $9 for a part of the day. So it is now at $8.10. So it's down fairly dramatically, but it is still above our $7.70 very strong line of support. Now you will see that for one day, it actually did pop below this line of support just a little bit. So we have to leave that on the table as well. But from a risk-reward standpoint, as you'll see that that is how I always talk about my trades, it looks like there's some very strong support just below where we sit at $8.10 right here. So 40 cents below that is a very strong line of support. So as I look at this, I look at 40 or 50 cents as a potential downside. And on the flip side, if we can get back on track, if Bitcoin can get healthy and break through this $52,000 line of resistance, it's very likely that HUT can run back up to its very recent high. This was in the month of December, so this was less than a month ago. HUT was trading at $10.70. So that is my first price target. That's a short-term price target of 2 to 4 weeks. Now, having said that, that time frame may get extended. But I do believe ultimately, sometime sooner than later, Bitcoin will be heading back up, and I think this is a reasonable short-term price target at around $10.70. If we were to go back just 2 more days to December 1st, you'll see that HUT was trading more in the $13 range. So I believe that's an extremely realistic short-term price target as well. So this is Bit Digital, a very similar analysis. I'm going to start again on September 30th. So we bottomed out on HUT 8 on September 29th. On Bit Digital, we bottomed out on September 30th. So that September 29th, September 30th was the low for Bitcoin. It was the end of the bear run in September. So you can see from that point, that was the bottom. That was a short-term bottom, and it has held ever since. On December 20th, when we had our next bottom of Bitcoin, we did get just ever so slightly below this line of support, but for all intents and purposes, this line of support held. We find ourselves back there again right now today. You know, this is one of the great times to buy, in my opinion. When you're retesting a strong line of support, your downside risk is probably at its all-time low, unless there is some other factor, unless something has changed in your stock or inside of its industry. So again, to me, I think the downside risk on this is minimal. So I'm going to pick just a couple of points. If we get back to where we were on December 1st, and again, today is December 28th, so that was less than 1 month ago. So if Bitcoin gets healthy and starts to head back up, Bit Digital was at $9.50 at that point. It's around $6.50 right now. So that would be a $3 upside on this stock just to get back to where we were at the beginning of December. So as you can see, that's about a 45% increase in the stock. So that would be my 2 to 4 week price target for this stock. Again, unless Bitcoin takes a turn down in the very short term. But I do believe we've reached a recent bottom here, and I'm hopeful that we will get back on track. But again, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't say that with certainty. We're going to have to see how the next 24 hours play out. If we were to look at Bit Digital's recent high, which came in on November 2nd, so that was actually 1 week before Bitcoin hit its all-time high on November 9th. That would be almost a 105% increase in the stock price of Bit Digital if Bitcoin's able to get healthy, go on a run. This may be more of a 1 to 3 month price target, but I do think we stand a legitimate chance of a potential 100% upside on this. My final words would be, I am not panicking. I have not sold anything. Those are my thoughts on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Thanks so much for watching the video, and we will see you in the next one.